Welcome to Season 3 of Cheechable Livin'. I'm your host, Cheech, and this season we have been super inspired by the Whole Earth Catalog. The Whole Earth Catalog is the precursor to the World Wide Web in publication format. Started by Stewart Brand, a counterculture and intellectual icon with a slick sense of cultural magnetism and practical applications. Brand, a prolific creator and highly influential in Silicon Valley, has a vastly impressive background. So Stewart Brand was born December 14th, 1938 in Rockford, Illinois, USA. 1954 to 1956, he went to Phillips Exeter Academy. 1960, graduated in biology from Stanford University. Revive and Restore Project, part of the Long Now Foundation. Mission was to make deep ecological enrichment through extinct species revival.
In the 1950s and 60s, the advertising boom led to a glut in consumerism. Enter the Whole Earth Catalog in 1968. A group of writers, designers, and organizers created a system to approach intentional lifestyles and enrichment centered on ecological and educational principles. We are as gods and might as well get good at it. So far remotely done power and glory as via government, big business, formal education, church, has succeeded to the point where gross defects obscure actual gains. In response to this dilemma and to these gains of a realm of intimate personal power is developing power of the individual to conduct his own education, find his own inspiration, shape his own environment, and share his adventure with whoever is interested. Tools that aid this process are sought and promoted by the Whole Earth Catalog. The Whole Earth Catalog functions as an evaluation and access device. With it, the user should know better what is worth getting and where and how to do the getting. An item is listed in the catalog if it is deemed useful as a tool, relevant to independent education, high quality or low cost, or easily available by mail. Catalog listings were continually revised according to the experience and suggestions of catalog users and staff. This led to many editions of the Whole Earth Catalog, extending the publication all the way through 1994 and a final 30th anniversary edition in 1998. Find this collection of the Whole Earth Catalog on wholeearth.info. How interesting that we're in a position where this catalog has been actualized as the World Wide Web and has suffered the fate of the exact thing it was trying to resolve, which was that the function has succeeded to the point where gross defects obscure actual gains. We're having a rather contentious moment with digital technology and accessibility right now. I'm here with the show's co-creator, Seth Sipko, to talk about some of these issues and opportunities.
Sites like Amazon and Temu have supercharged issues like consumerism and ecological logistics. So, what does humanity need? What have we had to support the communication of product availability and vetting quality over time?
Yeah, I like this question because it makes me think of how, were cave paintings the very first catalog? I mean, we kind of say that they're depiction of hunting scenes and everyday life, but they could also very well be, hey, this is my inventory.
Right.
I took down 3 cows or 3 buffalo or whatever.
And this is a trusted source, and that it's a vetted source for that livestock or that game.
Yeah, and so it's like, all right, so this is hunted, not scavenged, then I know that there's a lower risk of myself and my family getting sick and maybe living another day.
That's a really good point.
see, like, even further down the road when we became more educated in writing.
Oh yeah, no, there's that famous review of poor quality copper in, what was that, Ancient Sumer or something like that, written in cuneiform.
Right. Yeah. So we've had this need for understanding what we're getting into when we're kind of trying to figure out how to economize our resources and survive as a species. We've always sold, and I think there's that archetype that kind of was birthed out of the Industrial Revolution and Great Depression, this like snake oil salesperson, right? And so you always want to be a savvy shopper, and you don't want to get, I don't know, taken for a ride from somebody who sounds like a good solution. We look at this catalog and you can see the images of the like photocopies of a photograph and maybe like an illustration of the product, but they're all fairly just representational. You don't have any button to show you 360 view or a bunch of different colors, but you still are getting the essence of what you need as a consumer who wants to be, I guess that's the other thing, right? Is that I think it's worth noting that during this time, more women were going to college. There was a huge shift happening in civil rights during the time of this publication, and people being more independent, people being less ingrained in like a traditional family structure, and maybe adopting alternative lifestyles. And then also with that education, you have this real privilege to sit there and kind of curate your impact, and you can be a little bit more savvy and intentional with these products that you're going to need to get through life, to survive, or to entertain yourself or educate yourself. And I mean, I guess that's something that makes me kind of think of where we're at in this digital landscape now, is that I feel like we're in another space of evolution in humanity where again, we're addressing civil rights in the 21st century, just like it is
remarkable.
1956 all over again. And then we have this integration of artificial intelligence, AI, and I guess they're not our contemporaries, but if they were, I mean, we're in the same field as the creators of this catalog, and we're also in this position where we're beholden to tools of the trade. But these tools of the trade, I'm talking more specifically about the Adobe Creative Suite.
Oh yeah.
It's just become so bloated with functions, and now with AI integrations, it's so chaotic to access. How do we evolve in these digital spaces? How do we connect with one another in a way that's more meaningful and progressive, right? Because really those tools are about developing things and creating things and educating one another. And so we have this, like, I guess, this social media machine that has so far really beyond eclipsed traditional advertising and selling in its ability to like commandeer and manipulate the consumer's attention through things like fast-moving trends and especially the illusion of companionship and trust. So when you're talking about vetting, we're having a 23-year-old who's looking for a surfboard talking to a robot who's never been in the water about the best quality experience on the surfboard. And so obviously any genuine human being can see the flaw in that relationship. And so in what ways are these like marketing tools becoming defective? And do we have an opportunity to turn it around in an accessible way for actual gain?
I think we really do, and it sounds like an oversimplification, but maybe it has to be. But going back to the grassroots, your community support, and utilizing resources that are at hand first. Just because we have access to everything doesn't necessarily mean that we should. And I think that we've really lost track of what our intentions really are in these spaces where we're filling these spaces with consumer goods and trying to improve our lives, and what really is the end game there. So I think simplifying that, utilizing the resources at hand, and branching out from there.
Yeah, I really like this idea of grassroots. I feel like that's in line with the spirit of what the Whole Earth catalog was trying to kind of rein in from like over consuming little hats with spinny propellers on them. I think was probably the equivalent of like a Labubu now.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah,
and
right.
So and just all these little dumb things, and now we have plastic in our blood.
Yep.
Right. And so there's like real consequences to consumerism and how we've been living and producing objects that help us. I mean, these things really do help us live through our day-to-day, whether it's for a novel entertainment purpose or an actual tool that helps you achieve a goal, right? And so I like that, going back to grassroots and just thinking about utilizing resources at hand makes me feel like maybe we need less training and understanding around raw materials, freshly mined or harvested materials like cobalt and timber. And I think we're ripe for a pivot in reuse, like genuine reuse.
Yeah.
And what that looks like. How can it be clean? How can it be safe? How can it appeal to the masses and be useful?
Yep.
Not in just a Labubu sense, but like a real like tool, or I don't know, even something that kind of connects us all, right? Like maybe something
absolutely.
a little more energetic or
Well, that's
spirit,
the thing about
you know?
reuse also, is that through reuse, you do unlock human creativity, like true creativity in how to use materials that were maybe not initially intended for what you're turning them into, right?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of like real practical ingenuity that is necessary that maybe we need to reconnect with in a more universal sense.
I really like how you put that, and I think it sets us up for our season 3. We're catching up with people who are trying to make our collective lives a little bit better through creativity, and not just as an independent enrichment, but as something that they're bringing out into the community, creating education around and making points of access to be more progressive and engage with things like understanding whole systems, shelter and land use, industry and craft, communications, community, nomadics, and learning, just like the Whole Earth catalog. So I'm really looking forward to this season and what comes out of it.
I can't wait.